Well, at least I assumed it was water damage. But then it hit me. This is not water damage. This is dog piss. What's going on, guys? My name is Mike, and I'm so happy with how many people have reached out asking questions about my ongoing remodel project. People have been asking, where is this project? What are you doing to the house? And why is it taking so long to complete? If you've had any of these questions yourself, well then I have good news, because this is the video that's going to answer all of those questions. So let's start here. Me and my wife, we purchased this property in August of 2024. The house is located in Pembroke, Ontario, and we purchased it from a couple that is probably in their 70s. They lived in this house for probably 40, 50 years, and it's very obvious to me that they did not maintain it whatsoever. When we purchased this property, it was in dire need of many maintenance repairs, to the point that seriously, I don't think anyone could even move into this place. I don't know how anyone was living here. They had probably 30 plus years of possessions accumulated, and it was all in these tote bins that were just kind of scattered throughout the property. Now, I should probably mention that I have no intentions of moving into this place. When all the repairs are complete and the house is completely remodeled, we will be finding a tenant. When closing day finally came around, the old owners left the place an absolute mess. They actually didn't really move anything out. All their possessions were just kind of accumulated and scattered throughout the house. They must have been running some kind of doggy daycare, pet grooming kind of business, which made the entire place smell like dog piss, dog shit, and dog vomit. It was pretty gross. Needless to say, this place was in complete disrepair before taking possession. To be honest, I didn't really intend on taking on a project of the size that it has gotten to. I was looking to take on a project that was relatively small. The whole thing was going to take about 2 months and was going to cost less than $20,000, and I was going to do all of the work. And of course, none of that has held true. We continuously go over budget, we go over schedule, and we are constantly falling behind. Every step we take forward, we take at least 5 steps backwards. That seems to be the theme of the project. I was hoping to get away with just painting every wall in the house, putting down new flooring everywhere in the house, and of course, fixing up that bathroom. That was a pretty crazy bathroom. That kitchen was also crazy. The washer and dryer, they were in the kitchen, but the fridge, it was not. The countertops were just floor tiles loosely placed on top without using any sort of adhesive or anything at all. There was significant water damage in the kitchen, and as well where they used to do the grooming of the pets. Well, at least I assumed it was water damage. But then it hit me. This is not water damage. This is dog piss. I wish this was water damage. This is dog piss saturating through the floor into the subfloor. But that's okay, because little did I know at the time that the entire house was going to be gutted down to the studs. And of course, I'd be ripping out that section of subfloor that was saturated in pee. That, and I would be ripping out this entire back section of the house that was once some kind of extension, but it was very poorly constructed. It was simply just placed on top of some cinder blocks that were not even fastened together. There was no adhesive, there was no mortar, there was no cement. They were just literally loose cinder blocks on top of the ground. And I think the old owners knew that that was super sketchy, because even they framed the entire section out of the house. I don't know when it would have been in use, but it was not in use when we took over. There was no access to this extension, not from the outside, not from the inside. It had literally been framed out. So somebody knew somewhere that this was not a good idea. That extension, it had to go. The first thing that we did when we took possession of this house is we wanted to check out how much insulation was in the walls. We peeled back a little bit of that wall paneling, and to our surprise, there was none. There was no insulation whatsoever, which is pretty surprising considering we live in Ontario, Canada, and in the winter, it gets really cold. Even right now when I'm filming this, you can see my breath. It is freezing in here. I have my heated sweater on and I'm still so cold. It didn't really even take long to discover that there was no insulation in any of these walls. Having no insulation was most certainly going to be a problem. And most of the wires, they weren't even inside the wall. Most of the wires were just going from the light fixture, ran across, down the wall, and then plugged into an outlet. It was like almost the whole house like that. At this point, we realized we were gonna have to rip all the panels down for the entire house, and we were gonna have to bring everything down to the studs. Since the whole house was gonna be down to the studs, we realized, hey, maybe we can put the fridge where it's supposed to go, and then we can move the washer and dryer to the bathroom. That's a much more efficient floor plan. They used some kind of weird cardboard, press board material I had never heard of before. It was not like drywall at all. Drywall, you can get it down in some fairly large chunks, and ripping down an entire wall only takes a few minutes. But this weird press board stuff, I couldn't get it down in any chunks larger than something like that, and it took absolutely forever to gut this house down to the studs. There were 2 doors you could enter this house from. Well, one of them made sense, the other one, it did not. Instead of walking into the dining room, we've now relocated the door so that when you walk in, you have a little entrance nook and it all just flows way better. I actually got permits to do a couple other framing modifications. We opened up this big area you see behind me, this big beam, so now it's very open between the kitchen and the living room. We opened up the section underneath the stairs. It was really limited for anyone who's over 6 feet tall. It was quite likely they were gonna bang their head on the floor while they were going up the stairs. So we opened that all up, so now it'll be easier to walk up, it'll be easier to get furniture up there, and it all just makes more sense. And the kitchen itself, it had a flat ceiling before. Once all that dated insulation was gone, I noticed that we could actually go with a vaulted or cathedral style ceiling. Actually, I think it's shed style ceiling. I'm not too sure. To me, it's all kind of the same thing. But if you know what it is, let me know in the comments below. That way I can use it in future videos. Anyways, with this new vaulted style ceiling, it was gonna add like 3 feet of room clearance on the one side while taking up no additional room on the other. To me, this was a significant value add to the house, and I thought it was just gonna look so much better. This makes such a big difference, and I couldn't be happier with the way this modification has gone. That ended up being a massive mistake, but I'll get to that later in the video. We're upstairs now, and this is where the bedrooms are. If you look on the MLS listing, it was actually listed as a 3-bedroom house, but that just is not the case. The way that the old owners had it set up was that you had to come into this bedroom just to go into that bedroom. You can see this whole area here. This is where there was a wall kind of separating these 2 rooms. This would have been like bedroom 3, and this would have been bedroom 2, which is crazy to call this a bedroom because this here to here is probably only 6 feet, not even, probably 5 feet. So I don't know who got away with calling it a 3-bedroom, but it is definitely a 2-bedroom house. There was an issue with water getting into the basement, and I could see where it was coming from. Water would come off of the roof, go down the siding, and then enter through the foundation wall. In order to see what was kind of going on with that area in the foundation wall, I needed to rip up the deck. There ended up being some kind of cement walkway thing between the 2 exterior doors. So this unfortunately meant that I had to buy a jackhammer the oblivion out of that thing, and get the whole place properly graded so that the water could run away from the house instead of towards the house into the basement. Well, the deck is pretty much the same size. It is all new and it looks really good. While we're going over details from the exterior of the house, I might as well mention a few others. The home inspector said that the garage was actually in pretty good shape. It does look pretty rough, but structurally it is sound. While the garage was structurally sound, the roof, it was pretty ugly. So we had the shingles changed to get that up to speed, and while we had the roofer there, he changed the shingles on the front porch area at the front door of the house. And I don't know why I didn't mention it before, but we had seamless east troughs and downspouts installed to get even more water away from the house. As soon as we installed these east troughs, we had no water problems ever since. There were 3 massive trees on the property, and all of them needed to come down. There was the big ash at the back corner in the backyard. That one was super rotten and I feel like was very dangerous and should probably have been cut down 10 years ago. But of course, the house was neglected and of course, nobody cut the tree down. I feel like that tree could have fallen on any of the neighbors' properties or even houses, making it a very dangerous tree to still have standing. There were 2 trees at the front. There was a cedar and a maple. The maple itself was healthy, but it was just too close to the house. And we had multiple arborists tell us that the root system is probably putting a lot of pressure on the foundation and we should probably have that tree eliminated. So we hired somebody to come in. He came, he cut down the 3 trees, and while he was there, he offered his service of cleaning up all the shrubs and all the overgrown areas on the side of the driveway and on the fence line in the back. He did such a good job and I couldn't be any happier with the way he does work. And I'm super happy because now I have tons of wood that I can use to burn on my wood burning stove at my house. So that's probably about $400 in wood that I was able to recoup the cost of, well, spending for the arborist. There's something to be said about buying a house that's in dire need of an extended amount of work, being responsible for putting in that work, all while adding your own creative touches. At the end of this project, someone will really enjoy living in this house. And that is exactly what I intend to show you while bringing you all along for the ride. This story is not even close to over, but you'll have to wait to the next video to get more updates. And with that being said, thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.